4-carat dream. No supermodel in my dirty jeans, but in my 20s.
Hi my lovelies, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video then is about hair, particularly chemotherapy and hair or hair loss. Now, one of the questions I get asked a lot at the moment is about the cold cap, or how I've managed to keep my hair through chemotherapy. And as you can see, it's actually quite long. There is this kind of stereotypical image that comes to mind of a cancer patient being, having no hair, looking very sort of thin and gaunt, and that isn't necessarily the case. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you now. I'm going to address sort of the weight issue in another video. Now, if it's the first time you've found my channel, from the title of the video, my name is Tanya, and just to give you a brief history, I finished treatment for a recurrence of breast cancer very recently. The first time I had breast cancer was in 2016, and sadly, as I say, it came back. Now, people I think assume that this round of cancer and treatment wasn't as hard or as harsh as the first time because I've got hair, basically. The first time I lost all my hair through chemotherapy. The facts are that this time, the recurrence, the cancer had actually progressed further, and the treatment I had was actually harder and harsher. The chemotherapy was stronger, and the cancer had spread to a lymph node. So why did I lose my hair the first time and not the second time? Now, I should point out that you don't lose your hair with all chemotherapies. There's not just one chemotherapy, okay? There are very different sets of drugs or combinations of drugs that make up your chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is just a term for the combination of drugs that you will have. Both of the combinations of chemotherapy that I had, you can lose your hair. The difference being the first time I didn't use a cold cap, and the second time I did use a cold cap. So why didn't I use it the first time? I was going to use it, I was going to try it, and then one person said to me, well, if there's kind of a rogue cell and it's kind of hiding up there on your scalp, the cold cap could prevent the chemotherapy drugs getting to it. And I just didn't want to take that chance. So I wanted to get rid of this cancer, do everything I could to get rid of it and stop it coming back. I had double mastectomy and reconstruction, and I had chemotherapy and hormone treatment. And yeah, lost my hair. 3 years later, my hair just got back to pretty much the length it was before I lost it, and lo and behold, I had a recurrence of the cancer. I've done everything I could last time, and this time, again, I was told about the cold cap. So I asked around a little bit more, spoke to a few more people, did some more research, and the findings are from the NHS that it is very unlikely that any breast cancer cells would be hiding up there. It's not somewhere that breast cancer cells tend to go to. And as one lady said to me, the NHS wouldn't offer it if they didn't think it was safe. And if you haven't been through cancer, you haven't been through the whole hair loss in that way. Shaving your head is different. you're going through cancer, you feel like absolute shit. You possibly look like absolute shit. And then on top of that, you lose your hair, which is your identity. For some of us, our femininity. And it's just a real hard blow on top of everything else. And so this time, I decided to try the cold cap. Because as I say, I'd done everything I could last time. This time I was having a stronger chemo than ever. And as I say, I was told it was safe. So yeah, I opted for the cold cap. And as you can see, I kept my hair. Some did fall out, I must admit, but not that I think you can notice, particularly because it's long and it's quite thick. But I know that when I was brushing it, that there was some come out. So I know it's thinned, but it's by no means looking like I've lost my hair through chemotherapy. Something else you have to be aware of when you do lose your hair through chemotherapy is that it's not like having it cut or shaving it. You actually lose it deep within the root. So when it grows again, it takes longer because it's like a baby growing hair. It has to grow right from within, if you like, right from deep rooted to start again. So that's why it takes such a long time. The cold cap then, there are, I believe, a couple of different versions. I think there's one that's attached to a machine. The one that I used, that they use at the Nottingham City Hospital where I had my treatment, is basically, it's like you put, you know, like those free shower caps you get, you put one of those over your hair to start with. And then what you're given is basically, it's like a helmet. I'm going to put a picture on so you can see what I mean. It's like a helmet that's been kept in the freezer, and then you pop it onto your head, putting it as tight as you can, and then you put another covering on top to keep it secure, because what you need is for that to be touching your head all over. If it's loose, then it's not cooling the scalp, because basically that's what it's doing. That's another name for it, is scalp cooling. Okay, and the theory is that where your scalp is cold, the chemotherapy can't hit those cells and kill the hair follicles. Now, as I say, I was told it's safe for breast cancer, but do check with your consultant if it's safe for you, because I'm led to believe, now I'm no doctor, and as I say, that's why I say check, I'm led to believe that if you have certain cancers, such as a blood cancer like lymphoma or leukemia, then obviously cells are travelling around your body more and could more likely be in your scalp. So what you have to do when you've got this cold cap on then is you have it on for about half an hour before you start treatment, so there's a chance for it to start working and cooling your scalp down. They will then start your treatment and you swap your cold cap for another one, because that one will be heating up, so you get another one out of the freezer and you put that one on, and then every 45 minutes, every-ish, you need to change the cold cap for another one. Now, when I was going through chemotherapy, I was quite lucky because I could have somebody with me. Coronavirus hadn't got to us by that point. Whereas now I think you still have to go on your own. You're not allowed to take anybody with you. So if somebody's with you, they can help you with the cold cap, because you basically need to pull it down at the front. Ooh, bit of hair coming out. You basically need to pull it down at the front, and they pull it down at the back to make sure it's secure. So I would imagine that the nurses will help you if you are on your own there. Now, people might want to use a cold cap because they don't want to look like they have cancer. They might not want to lose their hair because they think their head is a funny shape. They might not want to wear a wig. Now, I had a wig last time. The NHS give you a voucher which will contribute towards a wig of your choice, and You can add to it, so you can get a more expensive wig if you want, and I did that last time, and I don't know, I never felt comfortable without a hat on. It just didn't sit right to me, and I felt like there was always that chance it was moving, or it was going to come off, or somebody would pull it, and so I would generally wear a woolly hat or a baseball cap on top of the wig. And then, I don't know, people know that you've got cancer, so people know you're wearing a wig, and there's nothing wrong with wearing a wig, it's just how you feel. So I would wear the wig if I went to certain places where I wanted to be treated like me rather than the cancer patient, which is how people saw you, if that makes sense. And I did find that if I wore like a bandana, people were a lot more, they were a lot kinder to you. You get doors opened, you get a seat on the bus, whereas with the wig, people don't like. So it depends if you want that treatment. For people who are perhaps terminally ill, they may not want to lose their hair because they don't want to die bald. And that's another major psychological book, isn't it? Because we know we have this image of ourselves looking angelic in a coffin, not laying there bald. It's very hard also to look at yourself in a mirror and see this bald person looking back. It makes you feel less, well, personally it made me feel less like myself. You may be concerned if you've got children about scaring them, if you're worried about them seeing mummy or daddy without hair, and perhaps you just don't want the cancer to seem visibly real. And you kind of find you go through so many emotions when you're diagnosed and you're told you're going to have chemotherapy, and you've got all these thoughts going through your head, and one of the main ones is, am I going to be bald? It is such a major thing for a lot of people. Don't get me wrong, some people don't bother, and I do think it's harder for women than it is men, definitely, because it is a sign of femininity. And men tend to lose their hair more anyway, don't they? Let's face it, than women. So it's not such a big thing for a man to lose his hair, I don't think. Still a big thing, don't get me wrong, but not as big a thing as it is for a woman. I think there's a scary statistic that 8% of cancer patients refuse chemotherapy because they don't want to lose their hair. I personally wouldn't do that. This is life-saving treatment. Hair will grow back. In a very small percentage of cases, it may not, but generally speaking, it will. And I say the first time, I was like, okay, it needs to be done. And I had this thing in my head that I was going to rock these different styles, embrace the pixie cut. And the thing with my hair is, because it's naturally curly, it just basically looked the same. Whatever style I had seemed to look the same, just this kind of curly top. I will try and pop some photos in just to show you. As I say, you can't have it dyed for so long when it's new hair, and so I had to be in my natural colour, which was brown. Well, kind of dirty blonde, but it kind of looks more brown in photos. So I had to have that for a little while as well. So yeah, this ponytail just stuck there, didn't move when I took the bobble out, and tried to put a comb through it. It was so tough. And my mum was at my house at the time, and I said to her, look, we're just going to have to chop it off. And so she chopped this ponytail off, and when it came off, you could see that my hair was patchy all over. And after the next round of chemo, it was really coming out a lot quicker. So it was at that point that I did shave it, because it was just, you know, you had long wisps there, short bits there, it looked a mess. So I thought, well, it's best to shave it, because then when it does grow back, it will all grow back equal. So yes, first time I did shave it. And it is hard because people say, oh, it's only hair, but it is a big thing. As I say, as a woman, it does form a lot of your identity. If you decide to go with a wig, I would say have a look around before you start losing your hair. That will also help the person who is supplying the wig to get one that is as close to your hair before you start with the hair loss. I would say take somebody with you. I took my mum and my best friend Lisa, and they helped me, because when you put this wig on, it's very hard to look at yourself, and so they will be honest with you, I think, and tell you whether they think that wig suits you. It is very overwhelming, and I remember coming out of that wig shop feeling really lightheaded and quite dizzy. I think it was just so overwhelming. So do make sure, if you can, that you've got somebody with you. The bandana or the headscarves are probably the more comfortable option, and I definitely wore those around the home. I very rarely wandered around at all without anything. I was married at the time, and I even went to bed with a little cap on, because I really didn't want my then husband to see me with no hair. And I remember waking up one morning and it had come off in the night, and I was absolutely devastated. But after that, I kind of it straw that broke the camel's back, and I didn't wear one in bed anymore after that. And if you're with a loving partner, it shouldn't make any difference to them. Now, there are hair replacement systems, I believe, but they are very expensive. You could also go for hair extensions, but bear in mind your hair is very fragile, and the weight of a hair extension is more likely to pull out the hair that you've got. Now, the cold cap then, so what does it feel like? Some people describe it as torture, and that is one of the reasons they don't use it. On top of the chemotherapy regime, which is making you poorly, they don't want something added to that. It's just kind of one more thing to put up with. Personally, I didn't find it too bad, but some people find it unbearable. The worst thing I would describe it to is having like an ice cream headache. You know, when you get that sort of, you know, when you've been eating ice cream, you get that kind of pain around your head. But to me, it was bearable. My advice would be, take a hot water bottle with you, wrap up warm, because if the rest of your body is hot, getting that cold cap on is actually a little bit of a relief. So that's how I dealt with it. And I was actually, maybe I've got a high pain threshold, but to me, it was fine. But I have seen people start it and then stop using it. And I will say it doesn't work for everybody. I did see another woman that started using it, but her hair was still falling out, so she stopped using it. But if you can put up with that and your consultant says it is safe, I would definitely recommend giving it a try. Maybe distract yourself with a book or some music, if you've got headphones, or taking an iPad, watch a film. You know, just chat to the other people having treatment. Now, if you are going to lose your hair, or if you're using the cold cap, I have got some tips for you to kind of make your hair that you have got last a little bit longer. Obviously, the most important thing is to look after it. I would say limit washing it. Wash it as little as you can. I think I got down to once a week. I would use dry shampoo. If you've got something that's going through it, get them a bottle of dry shampoo, spray that on of a day and just rub it through. But when you wash it, you're putting that extra stress on your hair, and then when you're combing it through, you know, it's going to break, it's going to come out. So the less you wash your hair, the less hair loss you will have, or certainly it won't go as fast. You don't have to stop brushing it, but when you do what you need to do is hold the roots. I'll show you. So hold the roots and then brush that bit so you're not pulling it from the root, okay? You could try deep conditioning treatments. They'll certainly make you feel better, if nothing else, but they will nourish the hair that you do have left. And I would also say, when you go to bed, if you can, if you've got long hair, put it into a ponytail at the back like that, or at the base of your neck. Not a tight one, but like that. So that is putting the least stress on your hair, the least pressure on pulling it. So just pop it at the back like that, not up because you're pulling it, but just the loose one down like that. So that stops it moving about in the night and putting more pressure on your hair, more stress on it. At the end of the day, there's no right or wrong. Do what is right for you. It's your life, it's your hair, it's your body. You have to feel comfortable, confident and happy. I'm going to end this video shortly, but I am today going for my first haircut since it's probably about a year, because obviously when I was diagnosed I didn't have it cut because I thought I was going to lose it, and then obviously when you're having treatment you don't want to cut what hair you have got. And then we went into lockdown and I was shielding, and now we're into August and I'm allowed out. I can actually go for my first haircut. I'm not having anything drastic done, I'm just having the ends done, because as you can see they're a little bit, well, split ends, you know, haven't had it cut for a year. So it's ready for just to tidy up, I think. So say I can't get it dyed. It's not looking too bad at the minute, it looks better when it's up, but then I look like I've got much darker hair when it's like that. But yeah, so I thought I would take you to the hairdressers with me. We'll have a look what PPE they've got in place, and you can share my first post-cancer, post-haircut with me. Okay, let's go. Now then, I just wanted to hop back on because I'm back. This isn't my usual style. It's kind of a bit, I don't know, a bit, I can't decide whether it's 60s or a bit transvision vamp or what. Or is it Kylie in the Shocked video? Definitely reminds me of somebody. The PPE in place was really perfect. I felt absolutely safe. You couldn't even get into the hair salon. It was like an entranceway with a rope across it, so you had to wait there while they checked your temperature, obviously ensured you got a mask on, they got you to sign disclaimer that you had not been into contact with anyone with COVID, etc. You've not been ill, you've not had any coughs and colds. And then you're taken straight to your seat. Obviously you need to wear your mask. The seats are separated by screening, and the hairdresser had got on face mask and the visor. You can see them spraying all the brushes and equipment, which I think they did anyway. I'm sure they did anyway. Seats being wiped down as soon as somebody's moved. So, and yeah, there was just 2 of us in there having hair appointment. There was me sort of at one end of the salon and somebody sort of quite a distance away at the other end of the salon. When they wash your hair, you can take your mask off, but they give you almost like a visor and a stick to hold. So when you're leaning back like that, you've got this covering your face, so you're not inhaling or breathing on them even. So yeah, I felt perfectly safe. They've got hand sanitizer at the door as well. So yeah, absolutely safe. She basically said I needed quite a bit off because I hadn't had it cut for sort of, as I say, over a year, but taking too much off would make it quite short. So she took a couple of inches off all over, and she did point out that, I don't know if you can see, if I can find it, it's a little bit fuzzy here. and there's a little bit of, you can see where the hair came out. There's a little bit, look, and it's regrown. So I've got some little short bits there. What she's recommended is I keep using sort of a deep conditioning treatment, and then sort of in a good month we can look at colouring. It's not too bad at the moment because I had balayage the last time I had it coloured before everything, before the cancer, before the lockdown and everything, which is kind of a streaky effect anyway. I kind of got away with it more than if I just had, you know, one colour. So yeah, and then she blow dried it straight and then put some curlers in to give it a wave, which is kind of more me than just having it straight because I'm not a straight head person. So yeah, just slightly different as to what I normally have. So I'm kind of looking at it like, looks different. So yeah, there you go. Any questions, pop them in the box below. If you've got any questions about the cold cap, hair loss through chemotherapy, anything like that, and I will do my best to answer them. As I say, I'm not a doctor, I'm just basing it on my experience and knowledge of it. So we'll always seek professional advice as well. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you in the next one. Don't forget, if you have enjoyed this video, do give it the thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel and hit that little notification bell so you get an alert each time a new video is uploaded. And I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.
It's easy to speak out about the way I live, but it's a 24-karat dream. No supermodel in my dirty jeans, but in my 24 inches heels. I'm not pretending, I'm born like this, a game for the reckless. It's so extreme and I don't really care, I don't really care, yeah. And I don't really care, I don't really care, yeah. They're calling me a mad woman, mad woman, mad woman. Calling me a mad woman, mad woman. No, I don't really care, I don't really care, yeah. 'Cause boy, it's none of your